Hey everybody, this is my latest video for a vintage sewing machine restoration. I've been doing this about 7 years now, and I love to restore domestic home sewing machines from the vintage era, and I only work on machines that are all metal construction. I think they are definitely worth investing time and funds into because they are really ready for a lifetime's more of sewing. The machines were over-engineered, way over-engineered for what they were intended to do. And you generally don't find them worn out, but they need service after many years. This particular one I found in an antique shop, and it says Modernage on it. Very often you'll see it and you say, gosh, it looks an awful lot like a Singer. Well, that's no accident. This machine is a copy. They're called Japanese clones, or Class 15 clones. What that means is it's a Japanese copy of a Singer design. Singer had a machine in production for well over 30, 40 years. It was called the 15, maybe 50 years. Anyway, it was called the 15, and you know the 15 machines because they have their tension knobs on the left side and they don't face the front like most machines. Anyway, Singer made a lot of great machine designs in their history, and the 15 was one of them. So the Japanese, when they picked one to copy and the patent had expired that Singer owned, they picked a really good machine. It was sort of a salt of the earth type machine to choose. It's a straight stitch machine, and it has these machines are you see them fairly commonly, and they'll have all sorts of different names. They were the body or the head of the machine was shipped over from Japan. And then, of course, the name tags were often added because they were sent to different places. The Japanese companies, Janome, Juki, Toyota, they all made machines for private labeling. They wanted a private label name because no one really recognized those Japanese names back then. This machine, I chose it as a restoration candidate primarily because it is unusual. Most of the machines from this era had somewhere around 3/4 to 1 amp motor. This one has a 1.5 amp motor. It is the most powerful motor ever put into home sewing machines, and it's about 3 times as powerful as the motors, the real wimpy motors you see on new machines. So it's a straight stitch machine. It has reverse. You can lower the feed dogs if you want to do free motion work, and vertical bobbin machines are really good candidates. Those of you who like to do free motion, great candidate for that. Let's see, you of course have your stitch length control here. Your tension, as I mentioned before, tension control is up on the left, and then you have a bobbin winder on the front as well. Very simple machine to use, and I mean incredibly simple, which is part of its beauty. But the main reason I'm making the video is to show how this machine sews. When you see the posting on Craigslist, you will notice I will list out and show photographs of all the restoration work. When I say restored, I mean I take the machine apart. I cover every part of the machine. I don't just do spot repairs. And that's important when you're taking a device that's was made 60 years ago. And this one was well cared for. It was in a carrying case all its life. It comes with a carrying case. If you decide you want to use a table, you can put this in a Singer table because the Japanese were very smart to copy that footprint that Singer had. So it will go into a Singer sewing table, which are very easy to find. But those of you, there may be some of you, just like the person who originally bought this machine, who really like being able to put it in a case. It protects the machine, and you can put it away in a closet when you don't need it. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to do some fabric sewing like I normally do with heavy stuff, but my main focus today is on leather. Just do 2 quick fabric runs here. This is 7 layers of very, very high quality and very heavy Levi's denim. It's because I want to show that the machine can, in fact, sew heavy fabrics. It's not just for leather. And I've been doing some stitching here, and on the left, we'll do another row of this orange thread that I have. I'm going to start with my needle down. That's really important whenever you're sewing anything this heavy and thick. And I'm not going to go super fast either, and that's also on purpose. This machine is really powerful, but your needle needs time to chew on this material, and I really always tell people, you hear me talk about it all the time, don't sew super fast when you're doing this kind of thickness. And so you'll see, I mean, you see the stitches, the tension is gorgeous. In fact, I need to come up a little closer to see if you can even see where the stitches begin and end. And then on the other side, I have sort of this blue thread on the bobbin. And that's pretty impressive for a machine. Most new machines won't do this. found some webbing. Some of you make handbags or you make backpacks, and you might want to use webbing. And of course, webbing can be very dense. This is very thick, dense webbing, but this machine is going to sew on it just fine. And of course, I can back tack on the machine. Reverse is a very common thing to find. You don't have to have a new machine have reverse. And of course, I could control, I'm going to use long stitches here. They're easier for you guys to see on the camera. You can do really beautiful short stitches as well. And now this is webbing, guys, and it has a texture. So my stitches are beautiful. They don't really show as well. In fact, you can, I don't know if you can fully see them because of the webbing, but I want you to see it go through something that dense. Now, you guys often hear me say, when I'm doing some test stitching with leather on my other machines, I always say, hey, make sure that you use a leather tip needle. Well, today I am using a leather tip needle, and I'm going to show you guys, I've already been doing some testing here. This is with not two, a lot of machines, vintage machines will do two. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 layers of garment leather, okay? And that's a pretty tall order. I have upgraded, you guys, if you've seen my Singer 66 upgrade machines where I increase their power, those machines will do this work. This machine will also do it with its 1.5 amp motor, and partly because of its vertical bobbin. So let's take a look. I've got 2 rows right now. I'm going to go let's go down the center here. So I want you guys to see which is the new row of stitches that I'm making. And again, this is a leather tip needle. It's a size 16. It will take up to size 18. You really want to pay attention to your needle type when you're doing some kind of material like this. Again, I'm going to start with my needle down and see what the machine has to say when I ask it to do this. You'll notice I did not go fast, and it made a gorgeous row right down the center. I'm going to come back here on the other side. And again, you want to go slow, okay, and you want to feather those, let the needle do its work, and be patient. Never force or rush a machine to do this. It's going through a really heck of a density. And I want you guys to see the kind of stitches, and again, this is a home sewing machine. You do not need an industrial machine to sew leather, but this is a big sort of asterisk at the bottom of that statement. Those stitches are beautiful, okay? And that's, let me show you guys if you can see it a little better here. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. And then on the other side, oh good, I had turned the suede over, so now you can see the blue thread on the other side. I mean, those are wonderful stitches, guys, and 4 layers of garment leather is a lot. The main thing you want to remember is the kind of leather you're sewing with. Most industrial sewing machines will not sew saddle leather. They won't sew very dense belting leather or leather that's used for knife sheaths and things. If the leather, it's not so much about the thickness, but if the leather is stiff like a board, you're going to have a hard time sewing it even with an industrial machine. Only very few industrial sewing machines, certain walking foot machines will do that, but only certain ones. A lot of industrial machines can't do it, and neither can these. So when you're sewing leather, make sure you pay attention to the kind of leather. Garment leather, I'm holding this up. You've seen me do this in other videos. Garment leather is flexible, right? Now it's dense. You saw that I was going slowly here, but garment leather is, you should be able, 1 layer of garment leather in your hands, you should be able to wiggle it. That's the kind of leather you can sew. You can't do it with a new machine. The new machines will just choke on it. But these vintage all-metal sewing machines are tough, okay? So I'm basically, normally 2 layers is what most people who get these machines from me, that's what they do. And I just asked this machine to sew through 4 layers, okay? And that's not to exaggerate it, because I believe that's probably at its limit. But, you know, the tension is gorgeous. The stitches are beautiful. So the point is, these machines have a value that new machines can't touch. But if you are a garment leather sewer, if you use leather for straps, or you're sewing handbags, maybe you're sewing, again, any garment made with leather, I think this will be just fine for you. You can also sew book covers with this. So anyway, if you have other projects, if you have materials you'd like to try out on the machine, get in touch with me on the Craigslist posting, and I'll be happy to set up an appointment with you. We can set up a time. You can come and test the machine out, bring your own material. I have a ton of material here you're welcome to use, of course. You see me using it. If you're an experienced sewer, I would love to show you the machine and have you sit down and give it a test run. If you are new to sewing, as a half of my customers have never sewn before, it's so exciting to see people getting interested in sewing again. If you're one of those folks, don't be afraid to come and see the machine. I will demonstrate it for you, and I can, if you've never touched a sewing machine, I can actually sit down with you and I can show you how to make stitches on this, right? It's not about making garments, but I can teach you how to sew stitches on this machine. They're that beautiful, beautifully simple to learn on. So, guys, anyway, get in touch with me if you have any questions. I'd love to, obviously, I love talking about these machines, and I'd love to show this machine to you and find a customer who could really put it to good use. Thank you.